Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine, Skeeter, G3 Sportsman, G3 John Boats, Suncatcher Pontoons, Aqua Patio, Hurricane Deck Boats. I could go on for days, literally. One dealership with more makes and models of boats than anyone else in East Tennessee, all at great prices. There's no better place to buy a boat, Madisonville Marine. All right, let me show you. Here's our red flag system. This is why I believe in it. This is why I spend the time on it every year. Just some of the real out there projections it made in the past. It predicted Wichita State would be a bad matchup in '06. I remember Tony Jones went on the radio and said it's a good matchup. I had people, I was on with John and Jimmy, and somebody called in and said, well, he said it's a good matchup. Wichita State beat Tennessee, upset them in that round. In 2007, out of all the numbers we looked at, we said Long Beach State is the dream. That's the one you want. Please, God, please get them. It was a 5-12 game. Those are dangerous. Tennessee put 121 on Long Beach State, so we were right there. Predicted Louisville would be a bad matchup for Tennessee, which was higher seeded, higher ranked, and got beat by 19 in the Sweet 16. And then 2010, of all the teams we looked at, the two that stood out as the absolute tightest were Tennessee and Michigan State, and that one came down to a free throw in the Elite Eight. This system, it ain't perfect. Don't take it to Vegas, but it usually gives you a pretty good idea. So let's use the system and take a look at what Jerry Palm says this morning. Here is his latest projection. He's got Tennessee as a 2 seed in the West. Okay, he's got them playing first in Columbus, Ohio, against Colgate, who's a 15 seed. Chuck, where is Colgate?
Right here, Joe.
Okay, if we can keep pointing, we'll get over there. All right,
there.
That's a 3. Are they? No,
Two.
that's a 2.
Two.
That's as good as you're going to get. You'd love to play Colgate, all right, or Crest, or perhaps Aquafresh. Then if you get past Colgate, you'd play the winner of Maryland and Oklahoma. Chuck, let's take a look. Maryland, that's a 7. They're dangerous. Oklahoma, where are they?
Oklahoma.
At the bottom there?
Bottom, right here.
Is that a 6?
That's a 6.
Okay. Well, Maryland would be a dangerous second-round game, very dangerous second-round game. Those both would be. Then you would move on to Anaheim. Yeah. Number 3 seed, Florida State in that region. They've won 14 of their last 16. If they'd won over Duke last night, they might have been a 2 seed. They're a 7 on this board, okay, on our system. And then last, let's keep it on Chuck. The number 1 in that
Gonzaga up
field
here.
he's got, Gonzaga, they're an 8. That's not a good matchup. And remember, you beat them in a close game, but they weren't at full strength.
Right.
Gentlemen, I like Lunardi's projection a whole lot better than this one. I don't like this one at all, personally. Thoughts?
I'm going to go with you. Plus, you know, you go that far out, how many UT fans are you going to get?
Yeah. Well, the other side of Florida State, you're playing all these games in a row. Florida State, their best attribute really is their depth. They've got, I think it's 46% of their scoring comes from their bench. And so when you're getting to that late in the season, depth is going to matter. And then Gonzaga, like you said, the revenge factor. And then even some of the Virginia Tech as a 5 seed, if they were, they're a little bit tougher. So again, Lunardi's projection is much better.
Even if you flipped it, and I think that's possible. If Tennessee gets a 1, it's possible they're the 1 and Gonzaga's the 2 in Anaheim. So you're kind of looking at the same type bracket. I would take Tennessee as a 2 in Louisville in the South over that number 1 in Anaheim, if it's me. Thoughts, guys?
I would agree with that. And think about Florida State and watching them. They are long, they're athletic, they can shoot. I think teams that are long and athletic will give Tennessee trouble as well. So I think that's a dangerous team.
That's actually, when we look at the red flags, that's what these stats reveal. Teams that are longer, more athletic, Kentucky's, LSU's, those are the teams that have trouble Tennessee.
That's my Jim Roy stat.
Yeah. Josh, you agree?
Yeah, and maybe this is me overthinking it as well, but playing Gonzaga again, I wouldn't have interest in trying to beat them again. If you know you can, so I mean that's something that can help. You've beaten them once before out west actually, but a really good team that knows it can play with you and would have the idea of, hey, let's get them again. I'd probably like to avoid that.
Chuck, is there anything you like about the Palm?
I think Kentucky should be the number 2 seed in the West. I think you would be penalizing Tennessee to make them travel when they should be higher as the number 2 in the South.
Interesting thing there, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I wanted to say this earlier. If Tennessee doesn't get the 1, you know, there was a debate that if you beat Kentucky, you get the number 1. You may not get the number 1, but most projections, his doesn't, but most projections have Tennessee going to Louisville now in the 2, as opposed to Kentucky, which was going to be the 1 in Louisville. Kentucky is now projected in a lot of these brackets to Anaheim. So at worst, you took Kentucky out of Louisville's number 1, and you moved to Louisville for number 2, and you sent Kentucky all the way to the West Coast. So there's that. There's that little joy. All right, when we come back, we're going to give you 3 different looks. A couple of number 1s, 1 number 2, which is the best field, and I'm going to show you the dream bracket. According a realistic bracket that Tennessee could draw, according to our system, teams that you should pray they get. And some of them are already on the list thanks to Joe Lunardi's bracket. Come on back.